Okay, let's do it. Finally. I've been thinking about doing this for a long time, and well, now is finally the time to get to it. What I plan to do here is play Euro Truck Simulator and just talking to the microphone, and we'll kind of see what comes of it. My intention is to, of course, talk about the game, uh, talk what little I know about trucking, which is not much, and then just kind of go through, what's going on in my life, what I'm doing in the game, just think out loud, so to speak. Okay, let's hop in the truck. So currently we're in Venice, and we're gonna pick up some cargo and drive it to Catanzaro. First up, we're gonna pick up our trailer. It is, I don't know if you can see it in the mirror. It's right there, so we're gonna position the truck, hook up the trailer, and then go get the cargo. So I don't have a really specific reason why I wanted to do this. Just started playing this game a couple months ago. Like, I am not, a specialist at on trucking. I have never driven a truck in my life, in real life, I mean. I just kind of started doing truck games, and I really, I got really fond of it. And back in maybe 2000, 2010, 2011, I don't really remember. I was watching a guy on YouTube play Euro Truck Simulator, and I don't know why, but that stuff, just watching him play and listen to him talk, it it really resonated, with me, for where I was in my life at that time. Here you can see the trailer. It's a box trailer today. Anyway, so this guy, he was just basically doing what I said that I intend to do here. He was playing ETS, kind of talking about what he saw outside the window of his truck, and then, letting a couple things about him, his thoughts slip through, and yeah, I really like that. It meant a lot to me to have the ability to just listen to him, speak. So I figured I'm playing the game. I don't know, 14 years later, and well, I have the ability to do this, so I figured, why not? Okay, this is where we're gonna pick up the cargo. It doesn't look like it's gonna be, too hard. You can see these markings. The big rectangle, that's where I need to place the trailer to be able to pick up the cargo. So anyway, that's kind of my ambition, with all of this. And well, who am I? I am 41 years old. I live in Sweden. I have a beautiful wife, 2 great kids, and a cat. I work as an electrician by trade, and I try to live a safe and predictable life. See how the rectangle turned green? That means that the cargo is set to be loaded. So I'm gonna turn off the engine. I'm at a little bit of an angle, but it is fine for them to load it. So here we go. Cargo is loaded. Sun is up. Weather is nice. We have 1,111 kilometers to go.
Time to get the job done.
And my GPS is also going to be talking to me while we do this. So if you're wondering who the woman is, the voice you're hearing is my GPS, and the woman in the picture on the phone here, that's my wife. Now, when it comes to driving games, or driving in general, I don't know why, but it just does something for me. And not to get too philosophical about it, but I get really, calm when I'm driving. It's like I'm in this in-between state of the place that I've left. So I'm no longer at the place that I've left, but I've obviously not yet arrived at the place where I'm going. So I'm kind of in this in-between where, not to get too philosophical, but I have left everything where I was behind me, but I have not yet arrived to all the things that are waiting for me. And I think maybe it's, part of responsibilities we bring upon ourselves as, adults, parents, I don't know, working members of society. Anyway, I started working out like a couple years ago, and I got this this training watch, that shows you, kind of all the stats of your workouts and how you slept and all that good data. I got really into it, and it was fun. I don't do it as much, or at least I don't keep, as close tabs on my workout as I used to do then. But wearing this thing on my arm, it always showed me my pulse in real time. So, and I could tell I have not to brag, but I have a pretty solid resting pulse. It gets below 50 beats per minute. At least my doctor told me that's good. So I noticed that no matter how stressed I am, like at work or in life in general, whenever I sit down behind the wheel of a vehicle, which I do a lot, like as an electrician, I go from place to place to troubleshoot electrical installations that there's something wrong with. And, I need to go back and forth to get stuff, to go to the next client and whatever. So I'm in the car, multiple kilometers every day. And like I said, what I noticed is my pulse just drops whenever I get behind the wheel of a vehicle. And I don't really know why, but to me it is very relaxing. So naturally, playing this game is very relaxing to me. And the way I intend to play it is kind of, well, I suppose realistic. Just obey the rules of the road, red lights, speed limits, stop signs, all that stuff. I wouldn't call, I don't know, like I said, I've never, driven a truck in real life, and I have no idea of, what it's like. But, so I can't say that I am driving, realistically as a truck driver. I know I'm not, because a friend of mine who is a truck driver, or was a truck driver, he said that I drive way too slow because I'm always, like, at the speed limit. He wants to go 5 over, so there's that. Now, when it comes to content creation and YouTube and all that stuff, I am way too old to get into it, and I don't really have any set goals or ambitions with this other than having fun doing it and hopefully, you know, reach out to someone. I might not talk all the time,
Keep right.
and I
And
for
then
sure
exit
will
right.
not always have something interesting to say, but
Exit right.
I guess that's kind of the charm with it, isn't it? And driving, you know, in the game like this, I kind of lose track of time and space. If I don't set a timer, I can just sit like this forever. And normally I get on a highway, and that's why that's why I have the GPS talking, because if it won't tell me, and I mean even though she tells me that a turn is coming up, I could be in this just zone where I'll just keep driving, keep going forward. So you have to bear with me, like if I miss a stop and I I have to go past it and turn around and go back. And the time of recording this is January 16th, 2025. So just got into a new year. Half of January is already went by. And I'm doing this, sorry. I'm doing this cargo challenge with a couple of friends where we have this set cargo type for each week. So week 3 is pasta. That's why we're doing it now, and that's why I picked Italy, because, you know, home of the stuff. And we set up a couple of rules. So there's one specific cargo type for each week of the year, and delivering, you know, one load of the cargo gains you 1 point. Now, if for every 1,000 kilometers that the job takes, you get another point. So if you do 1,000 kilometers, you get 1 extra point. If you do 2,000 kilometers, you get 2 extra points, and so on. Now, to keep it kind of challenging, if you get a fine, like a speeding ticket or running a red light or anything like that, it is a 0.5 point reduction to your job total points. And if there is damage to either the truck, trailer, or cargo, you get 1 whole point reduction. So, you know, like in this case, we're going to go for 1,000 kilometers. It's estimated, tells me it's going to take about 45 minutes of real time. Now, if I, you know, run a speed sign, if I get a speeding ticket,
Caution. Please mind
like I'm doing now, almost, if I get a speeding ticket and I crash into someone, all my points will basically be lost. And since there is, as you can tell,
Keep left.
there are other cars here on the road, and they're not always, you know, acting in a predictable manner. It is quite easy to kind of lose all your points. We're gonna go up on a highway going west. If you ever want to know which direction we're going, I got this little owl here up front. His name is Raoul. He's always facing north. So that way, want to know which direction we're going, look to the owl. He's literally my compass here in this life. And driving around Euro Truck Simulator is, like I said, it's a very soothing experience, but I also, for a couple of reasons. One, like I said, I'm behind the wheel of a vehicle, and that relaxes me. But also, you get to kind of see all these very well-made, this very well-made scenery. And I have a friend of mine. He's a psychologist, and he does research on nature's effect on the human psyche. And to no one's big surprise, being out in nature has a very good effect on the human psyche, the mind. Oh shit, let's see if we can, squeeze through here. So he's done this research, confirming it may not come as a surprise, but it is fantastic to see the research that, spending time in nature amongst the trees makes you feel better. Now, I am not a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but I have this little pet theory of my own that you can kind of get a little bit of the same effect being in a virtual nature, like I am now. Just seeing nature outside of your, outside your, in this case, truck window. It all boils down to escapism, I think. And like I said, I live in Sweden, and like I said, it is January 16th at the time of this recording. Oop, cops. Sorry. What was I saying? Oh, escapism. So it's January in Sweden. In the middle of January, it is pretty cold, and it is wet, icy, snowy. So, day-to-day life with, work, kids, everything that comes with it. There's, well, in some aspects, it's also a matter of priorities, of course. But, every day is not a day where I get to enjoy nature, if I am going to be completely honest with you. So, I can at least get a little bit of it, through the screen here. I get a sensation of being, on the road in Italy in summer, because obviously what we're seeing outside the truck window here is not January in Sweden. I can tell you that much. Everything here is just white, black, and gray. Not very, not very inspiring. And I think that's also, one of the things that I really like about, spending time in this game. It is something meditative about it. Now we're in Tuscany. I guess that's a region in Italy. I've never been to Italy. I'd love to go though. As a young man, I was traveling. Just when me and my wife first met, we did a lot of traveling, but we mostly did big city tourism. And it was actually on our honeymoon in New York City, out of all places, that we realized that we are not really, you know, not really into the urban life. Because while we were there, we took every day, we went to this particular place in Central Park. That was the only place where we could find in New York City where you could sit on grass under a tree and not see, you know, skyscrapers and people. And that was quite a, well, it was quite a heavy realization because we were in the wrong place on Earth. We were just the polar opposite of being in, you know, peaceful nature is being in on Manhattan. Not saying that the trip was wasted, but yeah, it was a realization for sure. So, travels I've done, I haven't done too much travel. You know, been to Los Angeles, New York, you know, Berlin, the capitals, you know, in the neighboring countries of Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark. But never been to Italy. I would love to go though. But I would like to go to some place where there aren't too many tourists. Because, like I said, I'm a
Please
bit,
watch the
you
speed
know,
limit.
I'm a bit shy of large gatherings of people. Wouldn't call myself a hermit or anything, but I like my peace and quiet. Okay, we got 816 kilometers to go. We won't need to refuel. The fuel we have is for 1,263 kilometers. So we are good. Oh, if you don't know how Euro Truck Simulator works, obviously it is not a one-to-one scale of Europe. That's how we can drive from Venice to Catanzaro in under an hour, because it's like an abridged, you know, version. The cities are obviously, you know, a lot smaller than their real life counterparts. It's kind of like the highlights are there. It's almost like driving a memory, because you know, driving in Sweden, for example, driving on the roads that I've gone across the country back and forth multiple times, both north. I live in the middle of the country, so I've been going north. I was born up north, so I've been up there. I don't know, 100 times. Been up those roads, and then I've been south, you know, multiple times on vacation. So I know, you know, the big roads very well. And it's driving an ETS Euro Truck Simulator. It's kind of like driving in a dream, because, or a memory of it, because you know, the highlights are there, but not everything is, you know, a lot of things are lost. But so you drive past the main landmarks. So in this game, the roads are a lot shorter, of course. Cities are a lot smaller. But the landmarks will still be there, so you'll kind of, if you continue watching, or if you play this yourself, you'll see like a bunch of places that, that you recognize, but the scale and the timing is going to be off, because the time in the game moves a lot faster. I think we started driving at like, I want to say 6 in the morning something, and it is all already in-game time. You can see it here on the dial. It's 11:58, and you can see 10:59, 11. So you can see it ticks by quite fast. So an hour in-game is about 3 minutes of real-world time. Now, when you get into the cities, the time won't move as fast. but it's more on the highways and the roads, you know, connecting the cities. Oh, it's another cop. It's time for the final countdown. Here we go. Sorry. And on the topic of trucks, I've always been into games with simulator type games. My wife and I talked about it. How she likes to play games that she plays them for the story and like the immersion in you know in the story of the characters and all that. And I actually prefer games that don't have a story, that don't have, you know, static missions, but more, you know, open world simulator type games. That's always been, you know, my jam. I used to play a lot of flight simulators. It is just recently that my eyes opened up to truck games. I actually started with SnowRunner. It's a kind of off-road trucking game. It is not a simulator by any stretch of the imagination. But the natural progression, I suppose, is going to Euro Truck Simulator, which, you know, you could probably argue the realism levels of it. Surely a real-life truck driver would have, you know, input, so to speak, on what's going on. But you know, most important aspects are there. I'm driving with a steering wheel, and I have this, as you can see, when I'm looking around, I have a head tracking system on, and sometimes you will see me reset. It kind of, you know, drifts a little bit. It also has to do with, you know, me moving around in my chair, you know, getting comfortable. Sometimes you'll see me reset the head tracking. It'll look, I'll show you how it looks. I look like this. It goes boop, and then it's centered again. So it's kind of recenter. It may have to, like, if there's a thing attached to my headset that is kind of has a webcam looking thing, and that's how it registers my head movement. So if I adjust my headset, obviously that thing is going to change a little bit, so I need to reset it. Oh, I so totally lost my train of thought. Oh, realism. So I guess most important aspects for it may not be realistic, but that's what is realistic is a whole discussion in and of itself. But what I have the steering wheel, you know, turn indicators, handbrake, on and off with the engine, pulling different weight on different numbers of axles on the truck. Like I said, I am not a trucker in real life. I've never, you know, driven anything or other than a van. That's the largest machine I think I've ever, you know, maneuvered in real life. But I am, however, you know, very fascinated by big machines and trucks in general. And also, you know, the people who do it. I just gotta imagine it's gotta be personal, like a specific kind of breed of humans that get drawn into trucking. I imagine it's gotta be, you know, fantastic for the things that you get to see, but also, of course, taking a toll on your personal life being away. Or, you know, that's maybe part of what is so appealing about the job. I know for sure that if I could go back, you know, be in my 20s and not have, you know, obligations, family, I think I would, you know, love this job a lot. Just like I said, I always loved driving, love to see the world. even though I haven't seen much of it. I think I probably like it. You know, or you would feel chained to the truck. I don't know. It's really hard to imagine. I guess it's like with every kind of job, every kind of work. You know, there's ups and downs with everything. I've done a couple different things throughout my life. I've been an electrician for like, I don't know, maybe 8 years, something like that. I've been a photographer, graphic designer, security guard, you know, worked out in the field, worked in an office. And so I kind of do something for, 5 to 10 years, and then I kind of want to do something else. That's always been that's how it's never been a big plan to do so. Every new job I take, I'm like, oh, this is the one I'm going to do until I retire. And then all of a sudden, something changes. I change, and the job changes. And then I land a new job, and I'm like, oh, this is what I do until I retire. Best job ever. But looking back on it now, I think I've changed as a person a lot, because I'm not a careerist by any stretch of the imagination. I work so I can live. I don't live so I can work. And I'm very much content with the work I have now. I get to meet a lot of interesting people, see a lot of different places that I wouldn't been able to see otherwise. I guess that's a natural curiosity. The only jobs that I've never really liked at all is office jobs. So when I was working as a photographer, I worked as a photographer and a graphic designer. So graphic design, that was a lot, but sitting behind a computer all day in an office, or an office environment at least. That was never really my favorite thing to do. I wouldn't call myself restless, obviously, but going to the same place every day wasn't really anything for me. Because then whenever I went out to do the photography, that was always the best part of it. Being out in the field. Though it also has some drawbacks, especially working
right,
as
and then exit right.
Working as an electrician in Sweden.
Right.
Gets cold, hands are cold, hands get numb. You still have to do the fiddly. That's kind of comes with the job. There's no real way to escape it. Not a major problem, but the couple times it happens, it is frustrating to me. But overall, I am very happy with my job. I don't know what I would do if I would change it. Don't say truck driver. Maybe that would be something. I don't know. But I feel it's a bit, late in life. I see, a lot of young kids driving trucks. I think that's maybe for the best. I don't know. So driving around these toll booths, since the map is abbreviated, there's going to be a lot of toll booths in some parts of Europe. And it's going to feel like you're just going toll booth to toll booth because the Tollbooth is there in real life, so they put it in the map, but the road is a lot shorter than it is in real life. There's also a version of this game called American Truck Simulator, and as the name suggests, you drive a truck in the United States, and a lot of guys prefer that. Everything is, longer, bigger, wider. Trucks are a lot longer in the United States than they are in Europe. And it's not as much technical driving. Not that this is particularly technical right now, but when you get into the cities, it can be a little, narrow from time to time. I've never found any appeal in American trucks. Growing up, the European style of cab-over trucks that we see, the ones you see outside the window here, that feels natural to me. That's my mind's vision of what a truck looks like. So in the United States, the trucks are a lot longer. They're not necessarily bigger. They're just longer. It just looks weird and unnatural to me. Okay, we got 500 kilometers left, so we've been halfway. More than halfway. I think it was 1,111 total. Estimated, but random events can occur. So like you saw, we drove past a couple of cops that have pulled over. Probably someone's speeding. Sometimes there are accidents on the road and the road can be blocked off, so you'll have to find another way there. Thankfully we have a GPS, so we don't have to look at a map to find our way. But when it happens, you'll see kind of me going into the map view. Playing the route that way. So moreover with the gameplay, I am playing Euro Truck Simulator 2 with all the map DLCs and a couple of mods. The big ones are called Pro mods, and it adds a lot of cities and roads in Europe. That's almost half of northern Sweden. Some of it is very well made on the, on the same level as the base game, at least. And the rest is pretty much cosmetic mods, just stuff, trinkets, like here on the truck. Nothing, nothing game changing. I have one traffic mod that increases the amount of traffic, but not to any, not to any crazy levels or anything. Just a little bit more than what the standard base game brings. And the peripherals I'm using, like I said, the head tracking.
Keep right, and then
I have
right.
a fantastic steering wheel. It really increases the the entertainment level of the game. for me. I was reading up on mindfulness, the concept. I'm not sure if you're probably familiar with it. I wasn't. So I had this friend, acquaintance, whatever, who got really big into it and told me that, oh, you know, this is the best thing ever, and that I should also look into it. And naturally, I did. And as far as I could understand, the idea behind mindfulness is basically to be in the here and now. And a way to practice that is to focus a lot on what you're touching and feeling physically, like right now. The exercise I was reading up on was to basically lay flat on the ground in your bed and just really focus on, you know, your hands on the bed sheets, the fabric of the bed sheet, exactly how it feels, you know, rubbing up against your fingers. And just do that every day. Just focus on, you know, if you're by the office, just focus on how your mouse and keyboard feels, I don't know, feels against your hand. And just reading up on that, I got into I thought, like, my first thought was, like, I am like this all the time, and I thought everyone was like this, but, you know, obviously not, because I am a very, you know, I'm very particular with, I'm very sensitive about how I guess the things that I interact with feel, if that makes sense. Like the steering wheel of my car, the tools that I use, you know, on my job. I am very particular about what kind of tools, what kind of hand tools, how they feel in my hand, how they are, you know, ergonomically to work with for me. I talked about it with, you know, a lot of other people, and, you know, everyone is different. Everyone prefers different things. I'm just very peculiar about the things that I prefer. And basically, this introduction of mindfulness to me, it was just basically how I work 100% all the time. So it was nothing new to me. I am apparently a very mindful person. So for me, you know, it is very important that it feels, you know, the tools that I use for fun or work or whatever, that they feel good in the, you know, in the hand using. Well, let's see, we're looking for the telepass icon. It's left lane, it looks like. Oh, I could have. Oh, never mind. There we go. It's a yellow here. Otherwise, I have to stop at the icons and pay for the toll. But since I have telepass, I can just. That's 47 euros to drive on this road. You know, I don't know what's acceptable. That sounds like a lot to me, but all right. So the setup I have at home, I am very happy with it, and it increases my enjoyment of this game a lot. And I'm just grateful that all these things exist for me to enjoy. And sometimes I go a little bit overboard with things. You see these bottles, these red bottles that I have here on the truck table. I actually have them on my desk. They're basically air fresheners. It was a little ridiculous, but I thought it was, you know, it's kind of. I saw them in the store. I was like, it'd be fun, you know, to have the same smell on my desk. And at first time, I just ripped them open, and they're very strong. So the whole room was just flooded of this chemical cherry smell, and it wasn't. It was a bit much, and it wasn't very appreciated by everyone, you know, in the room, utilizing this room or the house for that matter. So I had to. I found a way to put the lid back and just poke a tiny little hole in it. That way, you know, I can get a whiff of the cherry smell. So far, the the AI traffic here has been quite, you know, good. But you gotta be on your toes with these guys because sometimes they will just brake check you for no reason. This yellow one here looks a little aggressive. You know, they don't always move in a predictable manner, much like real world drivers. Overall, I think people, maybe at least in Sweden, people drive, you know, pretty okay. I've always heard people complaining about other people's driving. So I remember my, you know, adults complained about other drivers when I was a kid, and, you know, friends and colleagues complaining about how everyone else is driving, you know, constantly.
Please mind
But
the speed.
I think, you know, I think they're being a little hard on everybody. I think in general, people are, you know, trying to do their best in their given situation. And sure, sometimes people are stressed, but we can all help out. You know, I think it's important to not get angry, because you know, you never know what other people are going through. So I take, you know, driving in real life, I take a friendly approach to it. You know, I'd rather have a wave of thanks than a fuck off sign. And how I like to play this, well, I guess I, you know, like to play the game much like I, you know, drive in real life. Just not rush, and you know, let other people pass. I'm also gonna, for my own amusement, I am going to role play a couple of, you know, small sections of this game. Kind of like when I stop for fuel, I like to go into this external camera. To just go stand by the fuel. But it's a little ridiculous, I know that, but I like to play it that way. It increases my sensation of, you know, being, you know, being at the spot. As far as episodes go, I guess I'll record the entire session. We've been going for, well, over, I think, almost over 50 minutes. I don't have an exact timer here, but... And reason for that, I don't want to keep it short. I want to keep it long. That's what I like. When I was watching this other guy, I can't think of his name. I really wish I could, because unless he has, you know, manually deleted his stuff, it should still be there on YouTube. I did a search a while back, see if I could find it, but I can't think of his name. He was a British guy. He's a kind of friendly guy. I think he was British, at least. My memory's not the best. You'd think I'd be able to remember his name, but it's escaped me completely. I think I would know him when I hear him. I talked about it with a couple of... you know... Euro Truck Simulator is... oh, hey, look, there's the... there's the Odin trailer. Odin is my gaming community. Oh, I almost drove off the road. What was I talking about? The guy and my memory. Yeah, there you go. I don't have a very good memory, but I think I would recognize his voice. And I talked, Euro Truck Simulator. Oh, this is what I was going to say. Euro Truck Simulator has it has a very large user base for being a game that's, I think it's more than 10 years old. So there's a bunch of different, forums and subreddits and Discord channels and whatnot. I kind of talked to some other guys to see if, based on my very, scarce descriptions, if they could figure out who I was talking to. And I got a bunch of, tips of a couple of guys, a couple of British Euro Truck Simulators streamers and YouTubers, but none of them were him. But I've always been fascinated by, other people's niche interests. And I've always kind of had niche interests. I've been into, like I said earlier, I've been into flight simulators. Photography is maybe not niche interest, but I was geeking. I always like to geek out, max out the geeky level of whatever I'm doing. I've been into Warhammer 40k. That's a truly nerdy, hobby or whatever. But I've always been fascinated by people who are, interested, or, maxed out, geeked out on niche subject, whatever it is. It could be, stamp collection or, I don't know, fish or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I'm more fascinated by their fascination. Oh, this is a big solar park. Look at this. Nice. In the middle of the Italian countryside. And I love, I love to listen to people talk about their things. The things that they love, when they really love something. You know what I mean? Look at this beautiful village. It's just fantastic. I wonder where we are. If we can see it on the little map here. Nope. Okay, I'll show you what the map view looks like. It'll pause the game a little bit. So here we are. Let me hide all the map markers a little bit. Here we are. So we started up here in Venice, and then we drove through Bologna, Florence, Terni, passed outside of Rome, drove past Naples, and we're almost at our destination in Catanzaro. We only got a couple minutes left to drive. So we're here, this blue arrow pointing south. And I saw this village outside of my right-hand side window, so it should be here. It is not marked on the map. So as you can tell, there are a bunch of villages and towns and whatever, in real life in these areas, of course, but they're not, unfortunately, they're not represented in the game. It would be nice to have, of course, but like I said, this game is 10 years old, more than 10 years old, and there's a lot. There's a lot of cities. Yellow roads are the roads that I've driven on already, and the gray roads are the roads that I have not yet driven on. And I have explored 32.29% of the total map. So as you can see, there's a lot of cities, but you know, you would always wish for more, and more is just a couple weeks ago, the last you know the last missing whole country of Europe was released, and that was Greece. Um, and everything is handmade, so of course naturally it's going to take a lot of time to just produce this material. I learned that the the company that produces this game is like 300 plus people strong, based in the Czech Republic, called SCS Software, and I think that's great. The 300 people working, on this fantastic game. Just look at this. This is nice. Who wouldn't want to go here? I want to go here. Italian food is nice. I have not had too much Italian food throughout my life, but I like it. Well, of course, I've had a lot of pasta, but I haven't had it, made by Italians or whatever. Not truly Italian food. I would love to go though for the dining in the nature, but I don't know where. I've heard, northern Italy and southern Italy is very nice. Go to smaller villages. We'll have to look into it. We got 3 minutes left to go, estimated. So we're almost there.
Keep right, and then exit right. Exit right.
You hear yawning. That was not me in real life. That's the driver character. So there is this, much like the car needs refueling, the driver needs sleep. And what happens when you sleep is you can only do it on certain parts of the map, much like you can only refuel at gas stations. There are designated, sleeping areas. You park the truck, turn off the engine, and then you can quote-unquote sleep. What'll happen is the screen will just go black, and then the time will be, forward for a couple of hours, and your sleep timer will be reset, and you're good to go. You can turn all that stuff off, but I don't know. I think it's kind of fun to. Sometimes you have to just. Oh, it's left. Shit. Sometimes you have to find, to put that little sleeping mini game into the driving experience. That you can't just keep going. Sometimes you have to pull over and find a place to sleep. I like it. I read up on the rules of truck drivers, Swedish truck drivers, and the sleeping schedule. And man, it was complicated. It was not just drive for 8 hours and sleep for 12 or whatever. And the game is not that complicated. It has a set couple of hours where you are allowed to stay awake and drive, and you have a set couple of hours where you need to, well, that will be forwarded when you sleep. Catanzaro. I have no idea how to pronounce it. I am going to mispronounce almost every city in this game, I think. I don't speak Italian.
At the roundabout,
I
take the
could give it a
second
shot,
exit.
but I don't want to. I don't want. I don't want to piss off any Italians.
Exit now. Turn left.
If I were to try it, however, I would need to let go of my steering wheel to do the, the thing where you put your fingers together in the Italian body language
Turn right.
thing. So this is a delivery. You can see it. You can see it on the map. It's that red flag, and much like the pickup, the rectangle is where the cargo needs to be delivered, and the marking in front is where the truck cab. Well, I suppose the truck itself needs to be. I'm gonna turn on some beacons. We're in the depot like this. I'll try to not damage the trailer. There we go. And even though I have a couple of 100 hours in this game already, I am still struggling with reversing. So be patient with me and don't laugh when I have to like redo it a 100 times to get it right. I do, however, try to do it hardcore, like not use the external view. Okay, so up here you can see that trailer is facing kind of right. I just need to make the truck go equally right, so I turn my wheel. Excuse me for... oh, wrong way. Turn my wheel like this. Should sort it out. Probably gonna have to... yeah, I'm gonna have to redo it. And then I have this front mirror here. Let me see just right in front of the truck, so make sure that I don't, hit something, because I can barely see the fence over the truck, but here I can even see the ground. I have side mirrors, and then here in the back I have one mirror pointing. Oh, you can see my cat. I can see, what's on the right side of the truck on the ground there, just to make sure that I don't crash into anything. Okay. Nope. Okay, let's bring it a bit forward again. Go. And the wheel I'm using is physically like huge. It is 40 centimeters across. So it's quite literally a handful. Get all sweaty. Just turning the truck around. I'm mostly worried about those. You can see those metal bar things. I want to get it right. Let's see. Go a little bit further back. Depth perception is obviously 0. But I got this little white marker. That's the back of the trailer. Okay. Well, I'm good to leave it now, but for the sake of I want to put it straight so don't turn into a laughingstock. The other truck drivers. Okay, straight-ish. We good? Engine is off. And time to unload the trailer. Okay, let's take a look at some stats. Total driven distance was 1,117 kilometers. Fuel economy was 28.7 liters per 100 kilometers, so that's not too bad. I'm usually a little bit over this, but we had a lot of highway driving, and I could keep it a high gear So that's good. No damage for 54 minutes of total driving time. We went from Venezia to Catasaro in our beautiful Scania S. Total odometer for the truck 189,130 kilometers. So that's the total distance I've driven this truck in this game. Pasta at 20 tons. It was planned for 1,110 kilometers, but I went 7 kilometers longer than intended. I don't know why, but that's what it is. And okay, so the app you're looking at now is called Truckee. It's this companion app for Euro Truck Simulator. What it does is it has its own little economy. So I don't really care much about the in-game economy. I care more about this because it's more kind of based in real life values, and it has a little bit more details as each delivery. So a lot more fun stuff to dig into, and points to kind of where you can get better. Income was 28,228. Truckee coins is the money that you use in this app. Taxes 3,184. Those are kind of hard to come around. Other costs, that is fines and transport, so ferries and trains. We didn't use any of those. We only had toll gates. So I assume those are the other costs as well. Fuel cost was 605 Truckee coins. Total revenue for the job was 17,294. So this money goes into the virtual company that I'm working for. No damage at all, so I'm pretty happy with that. I guess this here is the average speed, 87 kilometers per hour. It's pretty fast. And then we have this hardcore simulation rating. And this is, I got 4 out of 5. Oh, sorry, 4.4 in total. Damage was 5 out of 5. Distance was 4 out of 5. So I wasn't super long, but it was, substantial. And then fines, no fines. So 5 stars. Fuel economy, 5 stars. I'm very happy with that. And the mass was 3 stars out of 5. So it was a little light. Well, running pasta, it's not really up to me how much they load. It can only fit, well, we can fit in the trailer, I suppose. So I'll take it. So 4.4 was the rating. I'm very happy with it. And the beautiful white Scania is what we drove. So yeah, those are the stats. And I think that's it for today. We'll see what the next session brings. We'll start here in Catanzaro. And, well, it is Thursday today, so we should be able to do maybe one more pasta run before we're out of time. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Take care of yourself. Bye.